Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of TorontoStarts, the Startup Coach.
So the last thing a startup wants to do is screw some legal thing up when they're getting funding.
Right.
So what are some best practices you can suggest for startups when working with legal counsel to ensure securities compliance during the investment round?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, right, nobody wants to get messed up and accidentally do the wrong thing, but also nobody wants to spend money that they don't have. So here are some top tips of what you can do to make sure you are following securities law without hopefully having to pay 15, 20 hours of legal counsel's time to kind of get there. The first thing you want to do is, as a private company, while you're raising, if you're raising in smaller rounds and you're sort of getting started, just make sure that the people investing in your company are either immediate friends and family as defined by the regulators, or are confirmed as accredited investors. The angel investors need to be accredited investors. Again, the definition for accredited is 200,000 in annual income, or 300,000 combined with a spouse, or 1 million in net financial assets, excluding real estate, or 5 million in net worth. Again, go to the Equivesto Learning Center. All the definitions are there. But if you keep in mind, okay, I can only raise from angels and I can only raise from friends and family, you're already off to a good start. The next thing that I would recommend is, when the person actually invests, they don't just give you the money and you give them a high five and add them to your cap table. You want to have them sign something called a subscription agreement. Usually, your lawyer can provide you a template subscription agreement for almost no cost. For example, if you're part of like the Faskin or the Osler sort of startup package, I think it's like $500 and they give you access to like a pool of documents. One of the documents in there would be a subscription agreement. You want to make sure you're signing a subscription agreement between yourself and your investor. That's the legal document that actually agrees to them buying the shares in your company. And you want to make sure that that subscription agreement has the right risk disclosures that are required at the end. The other thing that I would just keep in mind is, you can have more than 50 shareholders. It's not some sort of terrible, horrible thing having more than 50 shareholders. You're not instantly a public company or something like that. It just means you have to start thinking about how you're structuring your business a little bit differently when it comes to capital raising, but it's no huge negative implication. So that's not kind of the end of the world. And then finally, with the recent piece of news that I was mentioning at the beginning of our chat, Craig, you want to make sure that you're actually getting the person verified as an accredited investor if you want to have them on board. Equivesto does that for free. So you can literally just send the people and see if they get signed up as accredited, if that's something that you need help on. But certainly if you're paying legal counsel, make sure they're doing their job and they actually are requesting and collecting from the investor the actual documentation proof that the person's accredited. And then signing a piece of paper saying, I attest that I'm accredited, doesn't count. Now, if their accountant certifies it, because the person's a CPA and they certify it with their little stamp, the accountant certifies that, okay, my client is accredited, absolutely, that counts, they're qualified. So that can be a good option for investors who don't want to provide all their personal financial details to someone.
So I want to say thank you, Alex, for taking the time. You want to tell us again what you and Equivesto do and what are all the resources over there that Equivesto people should go check out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Equivesto is an exempt market dealer and an online investment portal for Canadian small businesses, startups, private funds looking to raise capital from Canadian resident investors. So if you are looking to do an angel round and you want a place where somebody's done a bit of due diligence into you already, they've helped you structure your whole round, plan out the valuation, got all the right legal documents, and they provide a digital location for you to actually go ahead and transact, certainly come check out what we're doing at equivesto.com. We also have a really robust learning center. So a ton of what we talk about here already is in our learning center. We also have a bunch of courses for free in our learning center on investor readiness. What are investors looking for from you? All this sort of information is there. It's totally free. A lot of it is webinars that we created with Craig. So feel free to go and consume some of that information. We want to try to help make capital raising easier and more rewarding for all Canadian companies.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of TorontoStarts community, visit TorontoStarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.